Hello, greetings, this is Gilles Mention. I thought I'd come and say hello to discuss a few philosophical ideas, astrological ideas, and first I'm going to pull a few cards that the highest wisdom for us is limitation. It is about understanding the limitation. The more we understand the limitation, the sooner we understand and accept the limitation, the sooner we will be free from them. What we need to understand is responsibility. We have to move into our creator, to put on our creator shoes and our creator coat and our creator hat, and we have to co-create the reality we wish to create. What we need to do is the paradigm shift. There is a great deal that is shifting from within and without. This great eclipse that is coming tonight will be very, very powerful in creating, helping, assisting in this shift for the planets. Our assistants, though everything that's happening in the heavens, for those who understand astrology, is assisting on the hyperspace of the fourth dimension to condition humanity into its collective evolution. And the general message for us is partnership. It is the sphere of co-creation with the universe, that understand as above, so below. Understanding that there is only love and unity that is true. Everything else has been created for a purpose of evolution, but we want to move back into this co-creative process. I wanted to talk very briefly about the fact that the ego, what we call ego, what we believe to be ourselves, is actually the master of the program. So the ego has to make a deal to accept to follow the soul into the light, to follow the guidance into salvation, because otherwise he will continue to believe in its lower frequency. So the ego will eventually be reintegrated as it surrounds its power. The ascension can happen, and then it gets reintegrated on the soul and spirit individualized sovereign self. So there's a great deal to gain from letting go of this lower frequency. There is Mars and the Moon and the south node of the Moon that are conjuncting and during this eclipse, and there is the Sun, Mercury, and the north node of the Moon that are opposite, that are on the opposition, and the Earth is in the middle. So there is a great deal of energy that is being that will be transmuted, and it's making a square. The node is making a square to Uranus, so there will be a great awakening. And there is the balance between Neptune, the dream in Pisces, and Venus, the discrimination in terms of love and what we need and what we want, that is in Virgo. So there is a great deal of sense of discrimination, and so there is higher consciousness that is happening. I wanted to say that I'm continuing to translate my book. It is a book that it is a vulgarization about the spiritual world. It's also it gives essential. It's called Beyond the Veils of Illusion. I Am. It explains a lot of things about the multidimensional nature of spirit and of our own nature and the universe, but it also gives practical tools. And so I recommend you listen to it if you have time or if you're interested. There is a possibility that something very powerful can come through a blockbuster movie, a movie about revelation and disclosure, about this whole nature of the illusion of control and all those things about societies, and this is potential to come in this year, the next year, the years to come. I see the most important of all transformation will happen in terms of societal will be in November 2020, when Pluto, Jupiter, and Saturn will meet in Capricorn. This is going to be extremely powerful. So we have 2 years to create a paradise situation for ourselves, so we feel we'll be able to assist others in the best possible way, for we have to create the best life for ourselves is possible, and to live the most consciously as possible as well. For this, like a new wave of ascension that is coming. You will feel an ascension. You will be a new person. You'll be, but you'll have to assist others that are below you and continue to learn to grow into ever increasing higher of light. But we have already given a break. We have to understand that we have this I Am presence, this divine spirit of God within each and every one of us that can be reflected in all other beings, and this presence is actually supreme authority. Sometimes I underestimate the power of my I Am presence. But I'm learning through that, and we want to understand the laws of the universe, the law of one, the law of evolution, but we do not know that law yet, so we have to use cause and effect to reflect us. and so but in many sense we'll return to the sphere of love and light eventually. Every part of our life, our body, all the physical, emotional, mental and spiritual astral body will be aligned and integrated within this pillar of light. And so we're going to be moving into higher understanding, for we have to understand vacuity, the void. The Buddha says what is void is the same that which has form. The form is the void and the void is the form, for God is and is not in the same time. For it is the entering into the subtle realm means to be able to accept opposing situations that should not exist in linear space, but they have to be both true in order for the integration of that subtle level. So just to understand paradox, to accept certain paradox, we'll come to understand that space is not just empty space. It is curves and angles being points of views, and curves being without point of view. So it is far easier to move through the spiral of ascension when we do not have point of views. Yes, there is always integration by the mental body has to integrate level by level. Understand that God has resolved all polarities and knows all the keys of the celestial mechanism of all energies, and this knowledge is also within us. But in resolving that, when He created the yin and the yang, the Tao, He resolved eternally. There is an eternal union in complementarity between the dark and the light, with the light inside the dark and the dark inside the light. And in my realization of that, I came to meet this logo and realize there are they are personal, individualized beings. The yin and the yang, they are observers. They observe all things that happens and they balance out. They always and they're wonderful beings. We salute them. And so we have to learn to utilize logos. Logos is a term, that Greek term, that just in Heraclitus, there is already 36 possibility of meaning for that term. So what I mean by logo is sacralized symbols. They can be non-personal logos or personal logos. The non-personal logos are sacralized symbols that we integrate, that we can nourish ourselves from a light forms, and the yin and yang is one of those logos. It is a universal logo, but it is a personal logo, and there are also personal beings that are holding frequencies that can be used as logos. In many senses, it's about understanding the oracle of Delphi, know yourself, know thyself, which most of the academical world will attribute this saying to Socrates, but in truth it is the oracle of Apollon. Apollon is the god of light, and Apollon and Zeus are some of my guides, and I work with them. They're wonderful beings. I love them. They're very real. They're real beings, and we have to in understanding that is the understanding that every those beings are real, but they ascended, they moved on to a higher level and visible frequency. They already came to the earth with from a much higher circle. When they came into human forms, they had all those amazing powers, and so they came from a higher circle, but they ascended, and now they are what we call astrology. But understand that all those planets, if you know the historical mythology behind the names of the planets, they are connected to energies and frequency, and sometimes it is easier to connect through a personal aspect. Of course, when you connect in Jupiter, you have far more than just Zeus, but it is when you connect to those personal frequencies, it's much easier to communicate and exchange energies from person to person than from a collective celestial body. Or it is like if you were from another planet and you would see the Earth, and Mother Earth, Gaia, would come as a feminine divinity, would come to greet you. That would not give you the understanding of what's going on by the billions of people that live on the Earth and what's going on in their mind, but it will give you a general aspect of the sacralized form, or Lord Buddha, Lord Kutumi, Lord Sanat Kumara, are planetary logos. They represent the total sum of the energies of the Earth. And so it is important to know that those planets are there is higher intelligence that is attached to all those celestial bodies, and as we ascend, we become more able to have direct communication and to utilize those cosmic forces for the magical transformation of life. Well, I hope this message was interesting for you. I wanted to also say that two little notes I've been studying a new author called Herodotus. Is the father of history. He's a pre-Socratic, not a philosopher, but he kind of put together the history. And Cicéron was saying he's the father of history. Cicéron and Horace are the official poets that we use Latin as the academical Latin, because if we go to Seneca or Ovid, the Latin is wild, it's very different. I also wanted to say that the book of Urantia is a big book of Revelation that came out in the 50s. Is being ignored by all the academical world, people talking about history, talking about theology, talking about science, and there is incredible the revelation in this book that will take 1,000 years for humanity to integrate, but eventually it's going to become all those who have read everything will have to also to read that and take into consideration some of the understanding that is within this book, because there is a sum of knowledge and wisdom in those revelations. Even some of the things can be contradicted. This painting was inspired by the Urantia revelation. It is the master universe, paradise at the center, the 21 satellites of paradise, the 7 circuits of the central universe, which is a billion perfect world, a perfect universe, ultimate universe. It is not an evolutionary universe. Avona is an universe of ultimate perfection that God created before he even created the 7 super universes and all the galaxies, the immense levels of outer space that are unfolding. I wanted to discuss very briefly that this is the idea of God attainment. It's the idea of supremacy, ultimacy, and absoluteness. For we know that there is only one absolute. For the absolute is something that does not change, has no beginning, has no end, and does not exist in time, in space. It cannot. It's absolute. And so we know that there is only one absolute, but this absolute we know in paradise that is manifested as 7 absolutes, 7 co-absolutes. And the first 3 are the universal Father, the eternal Son, and the infinite Spirit. They are a trinity of beings. And then paradise is also an absolute, but it is not deity. It is an impersonal absolute that responds to the will of deity. And then there is 3 experiential absolutes, which has the unqualified absolute, that is a force that gathers all of the impersonal energies of the universe, of the universes beyond what we can even imagine. Then there is the deity absolute, which is all the forces that can be deified in terms of divinity or reality that relates to the absolute. And then there is the universal absolute that balance out the energies of the impersonal and the personal absolutes. But those are still mystery. For what we need to realize as time being is the supreme, the reality of the supreme, the beautiful, the true, and the good. It is the transcendence of time and space. Then we'll be seeking transcendental. Once we find the supreme, we'll find God the Father, but then we'll be sent back into the exploration of the ultimate, what is the transcendental aspects, the many transcendental aspects of time and space. Then eventually we'll find the ultimate, and we assume that we'll find God the Father also. And once we're the supreme ultimate, beyond that, then we assume that there must be a level beyond the master universe where we'll be able to actually discover the absolute of deity. But it's quite so far removed in cosmic thinking that it's still, although we know those beings, they already exist on paradise. For the supreme, the ultimate, and the absolutes are paradise beings. And when time and space will have been completed, when all of it will be fused within the light, the supreme will emerge from paradise to take the control of all time and space, the super administration. And then the first level of outer space will be inaugurated, and when all four levels of outer space will be completely developed and filled or are fused within the light, then the ultimate, we assume the ultimate will emerge from paradise to take the control of the master universe, and then the master universe will be face to face with the unqualified absolutes. We don't know really what's going to be happening, but something my spirit guides, my I am presence, told me that what will be going on at this point is marvelous beyond our wildest dream. So, but it's so far beyond in the future, yet it is interesting to speculate about those future universe age and to study those things. The Urantia book is a really wonderful. Although it's a big book, so but it exists in audiobook. It's kind of nice, and you don't have to start it from the start. You can look at the glossary or the index and see what. Although it is a style of writing, once you get into it, it becomes more pleasant. Well, I hope this message was interesting for you. I didn't want to make it too long, but I'm going to finish with a little song. It's another spiritual song. It's actually a little bit sad song, but it's a funny song to sing. So let's sing it today. It goes like this. In the cavern, in the canyon, excavating for a mine, dwelt a miner, 49er, and his daughter Clementine. Oh my darling, oh my darling, oh my darling Clementine, you are lost and gone forever, dreadful sorry Clementine. Light she wasn't, like a fairy, and her shoes were number 9. Herring boxes without topses, sandals were for Clementine. Oh my darling, oh my darling, oh my darling Clementine, you are lost and gone forever, dreadful sorry Clementine. Drove she ducklings to the water every morning just at 9. Hit her foot against a splinter, fell into the foaming brine. Oh my darling, oh my darling, oh my darling Clementine, you are lost and gone forever, dreadful sorry Clementine. Rubbing lips above the water, blowing bubbles soft and fine. But alas, I was no swimmer, so I lost my Clementine. Oh my darling, oh my darling, oh my darling Clementine, you are lost and gone forever, dreadful sorry Clementine. How I missed her, how I missed her, how I missed my Clementine. But I kissed her little sister and forgot my Clementine. Oh my darling, oh my darling, oh my darling Clementine, you are lost and gone forever, dreadful sorry Clementine. Well, thank you very much. I don't know why I felt like singing this song. It's a bizarre song. It's an old song, but it's a funny song. A bit sad, but I wish you a wonderful day. I hope you have this joyful eclipse full of revelation, that new energies, new level, new elevation will come, and so we'll be able to communicate after these passages of those energies, into be able to communicate on a much higher level and be in gratitude for all that. Is coming to us. I thank you very much. I wish you a good day. Namaste.